Listen carefully. Confidence in 2026 is not about being loud. It's not about being perfect. It's not about looking like someone else on social media. Confidence in 2026 is about owning your space before the world gives you permission. There was a time when girls were taught to shrink, speak softly, dream carefully, wait patiently. But that era is over. Because the girl who will win in 2026 is not waiting. She is building, she is choosing herself, she is unapologetically becoming. Let me tell you something powerful. The most confident girls you admire today were once scared too. The difference, they didn't let fear make their decisions. Confidence is not born, it is practiced. Every time you speak when your voice shakes, every time you walk away from what disrespects you, every time you stop explaining yourself to people who never listen, you are becoming her. 2026 doesn't need another perfect girl. It needs a real one. A girl who knows her worth even on days she doesn't feel strong. A girl who understands that confidence is not arrogance. It is self-respect in motion. Confidence is waking up and saying, I may not have it all figured out, but I trust myself enough to try. It is choosing growth over approval, purpose over popularity, peace over chaos. The confident girl of 2026 is not chasing attention. Attention follows her because she is focused. She doesn't compete with other women. She collaborates, celebrates, and elevates. She doesn't beg for love. She attracts it by being whole. And let me say this clearly. Your confidence will offend people who benefited from your silence. And that's okay. Because you were not born to be digestible. You were born to be powerful. So stand taller, speak clearer, dream bigger. 2026 is not waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to be brave. And once you decide, truly decide, there is nothing in this world that can stop a confident girl who knows who she is. From the moment you were young, you were subtly trained to ask first. Ask before you speak. Ask before you dream big. Ask before you choose differently. Somewhere along the way, permission became a habit, not because you lacked ability, but because the world made you doubt your right to decide. But listen carefully. The most confident girls you admire did not wait for approval. They moved while others were still asking. They understood one powerful truth. No one hands you confidence, you claim it. Think about daily life. How many times do you hesitate before sharing your opinion in a meeting, even when you know you are right? You rehearse the sentence in your head, wondering, will they like this? Will they judge me? Meanwhile, someone less prepared speaks first and gets heard. Confidence begins the day you stop asking for permission to use your voice. Your ideas don't need validation to be valuable. The moment you speak with clarity, the room adjusts to you. Look at relationships. So many girls stay silent when something hurts them. They tolerate disrespect because they fear being called too much or difficult. They ask permission to set boundaries as if self-respect requires approval. But confidence is saying, this doesn't feel right to me, and meaning it. It is choosing peace over people-pleasing. The girl who stops asking permission to be treated well becomes impossible to manipulate. Even in simple moments, choosing what to wear, how to live, or which path to take, permission-seeking shows up quietly. You check opinions, trends, and comments before trusting your own taste. But confidence grows when you wear what makes you feel powerful, not what earns applause. The strongest girls don't dress to blend in. They dress to feel aligned with who they are. They understand that comfort in your own skin is louder than any compliment. Consider career and ambition. Many girls delay their dreams waiting for the right time, the right support, or the right approval. But the truth is, readiness is built by action, not permission. The confident girl applies for the opportunity even when she doesn't meet every requirement. She starts the business even when people doubt her. She understands that growth happens after the leap, not before it. While others wait to be invited, she builds her own table. At home, permission-seeking can look like shrinking yourself to keep the peace. You silence your desires so others remain comfortable, but confidence is realizing that your life is not a performance for others' expectations. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to outgrow places, people, and patterns that no longer fit. The moment you stop asking for permission to evolve, you step into your power. Social media has made permission-seeking louder than ever. Likes, shares, and comments slowly become a measure of worth. But confidence is posting, creating, and expressing without waiting for applause. It is understanding that silence does not mean failure and criticism does not mean you are wrong. The confident girl knows her value doesn't fluctuate with opinions. She is rooted, not reactive. In friendships, permission-seeking often shows up as over-explaining. You justify your absence, your boundaries, your growth. But confidence is saying no without guilt. It is choosing rest without apology. It is understanding that real connections don't require you to abandon yourself. The girl who stops asking permission to prioritize her mental health becomes emotionally free. Every day gives you small chances to practice this. Choosing yourself when you feel uncomfortable, trusting your instinct when logic is questioned, standing still when others rush you, speaking truth even when your hands tremble. Confidence is built in these quiet decisions, not dramatic moments but consistent choices. Remember this deeply. The world respects girls who respect themselves first. The moment you stop asking, "Is this okay?" and start saying, "This is who I am," your entire energy changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you attract differently. Permission was never required. Courage was. Every confident girl you admire has learned one invisible skill before anything else. She learned how to talk to herself. Not in front of mirrors or audiences, but in the quiet moments when no one is watching. Because the loudest voice in your life is not your parents, your friends, or society. It is the voice inside your own head. And whether that voice lifts you or limits you decides everything from the moment you wake up. The inner dialogue begins. "I'm tired. I'm not ready. I'll do it later." These small sentences seem harmless, but repeated daily they become beliefs. Confidence begins the day you interrupt that pattern. The day you replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." The day you stop labeling yourself as weak, unlucky, or behind. The mind believes what it hears consistently, especially when it hears it from you. Think about how you talk to yourself when you make a mistake. You miss an opportunity, say the wrong thing, or fail at something important. Instantly, the inner voice attacks. "Why are you like this? Everyone is better than you. You always mess things up." A confident girl notices this and chooses differently. She says, "I didn't fail, I gained information." She speaks to herself with the same compassion she would offer a friend. Because self-respect begins in private, not in public. Look at daily comparisons. You scroll through social media and see someone younger, richer, more confident. The inner voice whispers, "You're falling behind." But mastering your inner dialogue means answering back. Their journey is not my timeline. What's meant for me won't miss me. Confidence grows when you stop letting comparison narrate your story. You reclaim the microphone inside your mind. In moments of fear, your inner dialogue becomes your strongest ally or your greatest enemy. Before speaking in public, starting something new, or confronting someone, your thoughts say, "What if you embarrass yourself?" A confident girl doesn't wait for fear to disappear. She changes the conversation. She says, "Even if I'm nervous, I'm capable. Even if I fail, I'll survive." Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of supportive self-talk. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself about your body, your intelligence, and your worth. Every insult you repeat internally becomes a silent command. Confidence is choosing kinder language, not fake positivity, but honest strength, saying, "I am growing, I am enough in this moment, I don't need to be perfect to be powerful." When your mind hears safety instead of criticism, it relaxes and confidence naturally rises. In everyday struggles, traffic, delays, rejection, criticism, your inner dialogue decides your emotional state. You can say, "This always happens to me," or you can say, "This moment does not define me." One keeps you stuck, the other keeps you moving. Mastering your inner dialogue means refusing to turn temporary problems into permanent identities. Confidence is also built when you stop predicting failure. So many girls mentally lose before they even begin. "They won't choose me. I'm not good enough yet." But a confident girl speaks possibility before proof. She says, "Let me try. Let me show up. Let me see what happens." Your mind needs permission to imagine success before your life can reflect it. Even when no one believes in you, your inner dialogue must remain loyal. On days when motivation is low and doubt is loud, the way you speak to yourself becomes your anchor. You remind yourself of past strength. You acknowledge progress, not just perfection. You say, I've handled hard things before. I can handle this too. Confidence is not built on hype. It is built on trust with yourself. Mastering your inner dialogue is a daily practice. You catch the negative thought, you challenge it, you replace it again and again. Over time, your mind becomes a place of encouragement, not punishment. And when your thoughts change, your posture changes, your voice changes, your decisions change. Because the girl who controls her inner dialogue controls her confidence. The world will always notice your appearance first, but it will never respect you for it alone. Looks may open a door, but skills decide how long you stay in the room. A confident girl understands this early. Beauty can catch attention, but competence commands it. That is why the strongest women are not just admired, they are needed. Every day, girls are taught to invest hours in how they look, but only minutes in how they think. Perfect outfit, perfect hair, perfect angle, yet silent when it's time to speak because they doubt their ability. Real confidence begins the moment you decide to build something inside you that no one can take away. Skills don't fade with age, trends, or opinions. Skills grow, compound, and protect you. Look at daily life. In a classroom, two girls may look equally confident, but when questions are asked, the one with knowledge speaks without fear. Not because she is fearless, but because she is prepared. Preparation creates confidence. When you know what you're doing, you don't need validation. Your skill becomes your voice. Your work speaks before you do. In the workplace, beauty might get compliments, but skill gets promotions. The girl who knows how to communicate, solve problems, manage pressure, and deliver results never has to beg for our respect. She walks into rooms knowing she belongs there. Confidence grows when you realize you add value, not just aesthetics. Think about relationships. A girl who only relies on her looks often fears abandonment. She worries about being replaced. But the girl who builds skills, emotional intelligence, communication, independence, becomes irreplaceable. She knows she brings more than appearance. She brings depth, wisdom, and strength. That knowledge changes how she loves and how she allows herself to be treated. Even in small, everyday moments, skills matter. Knowing how to handle money gives you confidence at the checkout counter. Knowing how to express yourself gives you confidence in conversations. Knowing how to learn new things gives you confidence when life changes. Skills create stability, and stability creates self-trust. Confidence rises when you stop asking, "Do I look good enough?" and start asking, "What can I do better?" When your focus shifts from mirrors to mastery, your entire energy changes. You no longer compete for attention, you command respect. People listen when you speak because your words carry weight. Building skills also protects you from insecurity. When someone criticizes your looks, it doesn't destroy you because your identity is not built on appearance. You know who you are beyond the surface. You know your mind works. You know your hands can create. You know your voice has power. That knowledge makes you unshakable. Every confident girl invests in learning, reading, practicing, failing, improving. She learns how to manage her emotions instead of reacting. She learns how to communicate instead of staying silent. She learns how to adapt instead of breaking. Each skill becomes a brick in her self-esteem. In daily struggles, skills become survival tools. When plans fail, skills help you pivot. When opportunities disappear, skills help you rebuild. When people leave, skills help you stand on your own. Beauty alone cannot do that. Confidence comes from knowing that no matter what changes outside, you have something solid within. The most powerful girls are not the ones everyone stares at. They are the ones everyone depends on. The ones who know their craft. The ones who can think clearly under pressure. The ones who don't panic when life demands more from them. Skills give you options, and options give you confidence. When you build skills, you stop fearing the future. You stop chasing validation. You stop shrinking yourself to be liked. You stand tall because you know your worth is earned daily through effort, discipline, and growth. And that kind of confidence is not loud, but it is undeniable. Walking away is not weakness, even though the world often teaches you to see it that way. Girls are told to stay, adjust, tolerate, and endure. They are praised for patience, not for self-respect. But the most confident girls you will ever meet are not the ones who stayed through everything. They are the ones who knew when enough was enough. They understood that walking away is sometimes the bravest form of strength. In daily life, walking away begins in small moments. A conversation that disrespects you, a joke that crosses the line, a situation where your voice is ignored. The instinct may be to explain, to fix, to prove your worth. But confidence grows when you realize you don't need to convince anyone of your value. Silence and distance can speak louder than arguments ever could. Walking away says, I know who I am, and I will not negotiate my dignity. Think about relationships. Many girls stay in situations that drain them emotionally because they fear loneliness more than disrespect. They hope love will change someone who keeps hurting them. But a confident girl understands this truth deeply. Love that costs you. Your peace is too expensive. Walking away from what hurts you is not losing, it is choosing yourself. It is saying, I deserve consistency, respect, and safety without having to beg for it. In friendships, walking away can feel even harder. Shared memories, inside jokes, and history make it tempting to stay even when the bond becomes one-sided. You are always the one calling, adjusting, forgiving. Confidence is recognizing imbalance and choosing distance without drama. Real friendships don't require you to shrink. Walking away protects your energy and makes space for connections that don't exhaust you. At work or school, walking away may mean leaving environments where your growth is blocked. Staying in a place where you are constantly undervalued teaches your mind to accept less. A confident girl knows when to stop fighting battles that don't lead anywhere. She doesn't waste her brilliance in rooms that refuse to see her. Walking away is not quitting. It is redirecting your power. Even in arguments, walking away can be an act of intelligence. Not every reaction deserves your response. Not every misunderstanding needs your explanation. Confidence is knowing when to engage and when to disengage. When emotions are high and respect is low, distance becomes protection. Walking away keeps your peace intact. There are moments in life when walking away means letting go of a version of yourself. Old habits, old fears, old identities built on pleasing others. Growth requires separation. Confidence is allowing yourself to outgrow what once felt comfortable. It is choosing evolution over familiarity. Walking away also applies to negative self-talk. When your mind starts replaying doubts, comparisons, and regrets, a confident girl steps back. She refuses to stay in thoughts that harm her. She learns to redirect her focus towards strength, not self-punish. Meant. Walking away from toxic thoughts is just as important as walking away from toxic people. Daily life will test this skill repeatedly. Someone will underestimate you. Someone will cross a boundary. Something will drain your spirit. Each time you choose, do you stay and suffer or do you walk away and heal? Confidence is built in these decisions. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you grow stronger. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop accepting what hurts. It means you understand that your energy is sacred. Where you place it determines your future. The girl who learns to walk away learns one of the most powerful lessons in confidence. You don't lose people by choosing yourself. You lose pain, limitation, and self-doubt. Being comfortable being alone is not loneliness, it is liberation. The world teaches girls to fear silence, to fill every empty space with noise, people, or validation. But the most confident girls are not afraid of their own company. They don't run from quiet moments because they have made peace with themselves. They understand that solitude is not a punishment, it is a privilege. In daily life, this shows up in simple ways. Sitting alone at a cafe without checking your phone every minute. Walking into a place by yourself without feeling the need to explain. Spending a weekend alone without feeling incomplete. Confidence grows when you stop needing constant company to feel worthy. When you are comfortable being alone, you stop settling for people who drain you just to avoid emptiness. In relationships, many girls stay longer than they should because being alone feels terrifying. They confuse companionship with self-worth. But a confident girl knows this truth: being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. She would rather face silence than live with disrespect. Solitude teaches her standards. It shows her what peace feels like, so she never accepts chaos again. Being alone gives you clarity. When no one is influencing your choices, you hear your own voice more clearly. You learn what you like, what you want, and what you will no longer tolerate. Confidence is built when decisions come from self-awareness, not pressure. Alone time becomes a mirror, not a void. In daily routines, comfort with solitude allows growth. Reading, learning, practicing, reflecting, these things require quiet. A confident girl invests time in herself without guilt. She understands that self-improvement is not selfish. When you are comfortable being alone, you don't fear missing out, you focus on becoming more. Social media makes solitude seem like failure. Empty weekends look boring compared to crowded stories. But confidence is knowing that a quiet life can still be a powerful one. You don't need to be seen everywhere to matter. The most successful transformations happen privately, not publicly. When challenges come, being comfortable alone becomes strength. You don't collapse when support disappears. You don't lose direction when people leave. You learn to self-soothe, self-motivate, and self-validate. Confidence grows when you realize you can survive your own company. That realization removes fear from your choices. Alone time also teaches emotional independence. You stop expecting others to fix your mood, your happiness, or your problems. You take responsibility for your inner world. The confident girl doesn't wait for someone to save her day. She knows how to create peace within herself. Even in moments of sadness, solitude becomes healing instead of overwhelming. You allow yourself to feel without distraction. You process emotions instead of suppressing them. Confidence is not pretending you are always strong. It is trusting yourself enough to sit with your feelings and grow through them. Daily life constantly offers chances to escape solitude. Noise, scrolling, distractions. But confidence grows when you choose presence over escape. When you listen to your thoughts without judgment. When you become your own safe place. Being comfortable, being alone changes how you connect with others. You don't cling. You don't chase. You don't compromise your values to be included. You choose relationships because you want them, not because you need them. That shift is powerful. A girl who is comfortable being alone is never desperate. She is calm, grounded, and selective. She brings completeness into relationships, not emptiness. She knows that her worth is not measured by company, but by character. And that kind of confidence cannot be shaken. There will be moments in your life when your heart races, your palms sweat, and your voice feels like it might betray you. Moments when silence feels safer than honesty. But confidence is not born in comfort. It is forged in those exact seconds when fear tells you to stay quiet and something deeper inside you says, speak anyway. Speaking even when your voice shakes is not a flaw. It is proof that courage is present. In daily life, this begins early. In classrooms where you know the answer but hesitate to raise your hand. You worry about sounding wrong, about being judged, about standing out. But every time you stay silent, you teach yourself that your thoughts are not important. The confident girl breaks this pattern. She raises her hand even when her voice trembles. She understands that growth begins the moment you stop waiting to feel fearless. At work or in meetings, fear often wears a professional mask. You doubt your ideas, overthink your words, and wait for someone else to speak first. Then someone repeats what you were thinking and gets praised for it. Confidence is learning that your ideas deserve air. Speaking with a shaking voice is still speaking. And every time you do it, your voice grows steadier, stronger, more respected. In relationships, speaking up can feel terrifying. Saying what you feel risks rejection, conflict, or loss. So many girls swallow their emotions to keep peace. But silence slowly erodes self-respect. Confidence is saying, this hurt me, even when your chest tightens. It is expressing needs without apologizing for having them. When you speak your truth, you stop abandoning yourself. Even with family, speaking can feel heavy. Cultural expectations, fear of disappointing others, fear of being misunderstood. But confidence grows when you express your dreams, your boundaries, your decisions. Your voice shaking does not mean you are wrong, it means you care. Courage doesn't require calm, it requires honesty. In daily struggles, speaking up might mean asking for help, admitting you don't know, saying you are overwhelmed. Many girls equate strength with silence, but real strength allows vulnerability. The confident girl understands that asking for help does not make her weak, it makes her wise. When you speak your needs, you give others the chance to meet you with respect. Fear of judgment is one of the biggest silencers. You imagine criticism before it happens, you rehearse failure before success. But confidence is realizing that being judged for speaking is better than being invisible for staying quiet. Your voice may shake, but your message still matters. And the more you speak, the less power fear holds over you. In moments of injustice, speaking becomes a responsibility. When something is wrong and everyone else stays silent, your voice may tremble, but it can still be the one that shifts the room. Confidence is standing up for yourself and others, even when it feels uncomfortable. Silence protects comfort. Speaking protects integrity. Daily life offers endless opportunities to practice this skill. Returning the wrong order, correcting misinformation, expressing disagreement respectfully. Each small act trains your nervous system to trust your voice. Confidence is not built overnight, it is built sentence by sentence. When emotions are high, your voice may shake the most. Anger, sadness, fear, these feelings don't disqualify your words. They give them weight. Speaking through emotion teaches you emotional courage. You stop waiting to be perfectly composed to be heard. Life does not wait for perfection, and neither should your voice. The confident girl understands something deeply powerful. Her voice does not need to be loud to be strong. It needs to be honest. Even a trembling voice carries truth, and truth has power. Each time you speak despite fear, you rewrite your identity. You go from someone who hides to someone who shows up, from someone who doubts to someone who dares, from someone who waits to someone who leads. And one day, you will look back and realize your voice no longer shakes. Not because fear disappeared, but because you stopped letting it decide for you. Listen to this slowly, because this is the truth most people realize too late. Confidence is not something you wake up with one day and suddenly own forever. Confidence is built every single time you choose courage over comfort. Every time you speak, even when your voice shakes. Every time you refuse to disappear just to keep others comfortable. Every time you decide that your voice, your dreams, and your presence matter. Remember this powerful truth: you don't find confidence by waiting. You find it by moving. The girl you are becoming is shaped by the moments you didn't feel ready but showed up anyway. Fear did not disqualify you. Doubt did not defeat you. They were simply GNS that you were stepping into something bigger than who you used to be. There will be days when your hands tremble and your heart races. On those days, remind yourself, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else is more important than fear. Your voice matters even when it's soft. Your truth matters even when it's uncomfortable. Your presence matters even when the room tries to ignore you. Never forget this line. If you keep quiet to be liked, you will lose yourself to be accepted. You were not born to shrink. You were not born to apologize for existing. You were not born to wait in the background while life passes you by. You were born to take up space, with grace, with strength, with purpose. One day you will look back at the girl who was afraid to speak, afraid to choose herself, afraid to stand alone, and you will thank her because she spoke anyway, she stood anyway, she showed up anyway, and that decision changed everything. Let the world hear your voice, not because you are fearless, but because you are brave, not because you are perfect, but because you are real. Remember this always: your voice doesn't need permission. It needs courage. When life tries to silence you, stand taller. When doubt tries to shake you, speak louder, even if it trembles. Because every time you speak your truth, you teach the world how to treat you, and more importantly, you teach yourself who you are. Carry this with you: the strongest women are not the loudest in the room, they are the ones who never betray themselves. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is self-trust. It is knowing that no matter what happens, you will not abandon your own voice. So walk forward boldly. Speak clearly, live honestly. Let your voice rise, even if it shakes, because one day it won't shake at all. One day it will command rooms, inspire hearts, and awaken courage in others, simply because you chose not to stay silent when it mattered most. And when that day comes, remember this final truth etched into your spirit: a woman who finds her voice can never be controlled, ignored, or forgotten.